Mash stood in front of Lana's broken doors and listened to Abel's story about Rain being the only mage. He was the only mage who could resist Abel's devil's eye, and therefore Mash could not be stronger than the one who held the title of divine host. During the story, Mash flinched at Abel's interruption. He apologized and told him to continue. Abel went on to say that Mash was a capable mage, which means he must realize that equality has no place in this world. At the last meeting, Abel talked about Lana's animal nature. He's not willing to put up with those below him because they can only always take advantage of kindness, and they're too selfish to protect their rights. Abel found this too impertinent. He doesn't think it is necessary to burden himself with ballast by indulging them, and added that those who don't possess magic should be destroyed. At such words, Mash was shocked. Abel thought that isolating such from society was too lenient a solution, so he wants to change that and get rid of all those who are worthless and those who dare to defend them. Mash remembered his childhood when his father who protected him from the cruel world rejoiced at his every first step, every first trick. He remembered his father's words that he was his greatest value and pride to him. Afterward, Mash said he didn't like Abel's violent ideas, so they were unlikely to be friends. Abel didn't like that Mash was too narrow-minded and shallow to understand his ideas. Abel said he needed to cleanse the world of inferior mages and attacked Mash with puppet magic. At this time, a tired Cuth was walking down the corridor of the academy and saw the broken door at the entrance to Lan's dormitory. She saw that Abel was fighting with Mash and was scared by it. Inside, the dolls that attacked Mash contained acid, and Mash was trying not to get hit by it. When another batch of dolls came running at him, he took the head of an old doll and threw it as hard as he could to blow them away like bowling pins. Cuth was surprised that Mash had demolished all the acid dolls with one throw. Then Mash said that by Abyss's logic, if Mash won, Abel would be the lowly mage who wasn't worthy of life. Mash wanted to know where Lemon was, but Abel didn't know who he meant because Abel sucks the magic energy out of students without asking their names. Mash told Abel that his actions were making people feel bad, but Abel recalled his principle that the strong take and the weak give. That is the right of the strong. When Mash was attacked, Cuth was sure that Mash was screwed, but he successfully fended off the attack. Abel saw that Mash had gotten stronger since the last encounter. Since the strong can take everything from the weak, Mash intended to find out where Lemon was when Abel lost. Abel said that Mash's words were not empty and used magic against him, so that Mash began to beat himself. Abel then pulled magic threads to Mash and started to control him, but then the thread broke and Mash didn't realize what happened. Abel apologized to Mash for not giving him a chance to exercise his powers. Then a wooden puppet named Fina appears and wants to kill Mash. The doll attacked Mash, but he fended off the attack. Abel reprimanded Mash for touching the doll and told him it was forbidden to touch it. Abel threatened to tear his friend apart if Mash didn't follow the rule. Mash understood and said that Abel was playing dirty. The doll kept throwing punches, but Mash didn't defend himself and tolerated it. While the doll was beating up Mash, Abel told him that it was normal for a person to believe that he was on the side of goodness, but to Abel, goodness was a sign of weakness. When the doll struck again, it broke the weapon against Mash. Abel was surprised that the weapon broke before Mash did. Then Mash took out a coin and pretended to give it up without a fight, but he broke the strings that Abel used to control the Fina doll with the coin. Mash ironically said that the coin was attached to him, so he couldn't give it back. Abel was fed up with this spectacle and decided to quickly defeat Mash. He reached out to him with threads that he tried to control him with, but Mash was too strong, so he broke the threads and attacked Abel. After hitting him hard, Abel cast a spell and Mash began to turn into a wooden puppet. Abel said that Mash's strength impressed him, but according to the laws of nature, the strongest survive and the weakest are destined to become victims. To Abel, Mash was nothing more than a rabbit that would sooner or later end up in the wolf's mouth. Abel thought he had won the battle and wanted to take the coin from Mash, but instead of the coin there was a brownie. While Abel was puzzled, Mash hit him and gave him back his brownie. Cute couldn't believe that a normal person would keep brownies in his pockets. Abel didn't understand how Mash could move if he was a puppet. Abel's spell blocks the brain and cuts off communication with the body. Then jams the mind and subjugates it. But Abel remembered the spinal reflex. An example of this reflex is when a hand pulls away from a hot body, or when a leg twitches when tapped below the knee. This is the body's special defense mechanism against external threats. Neuronal signals go directly to the muscles, bypassing the brain to speed up the response to an external stimulus. Abel realized that his magic only alters the outer shell so he can override the control, but inside it's the same person, so Mash was able to move in puppet form on his own. Cuth didn't realize how much she had to care about the brownie to be so protective of her. Abel said it was the norm to fight to the last man and said he recognized Mash's will. He threatened Mash that he could use the strongest magic at any time and use the biggest puppet whose job is to destroy everything. It can turn all living things into puppets within a 100-meter radius. Abel explained to Mash that the threads are very thin, so you can't see them. Once the threads touch Mash, he will lose control of his body and won't be able to resist Abel. The huge puppet was endlessly striking, but it suddenly collapsed. Abel was surprised that Mash hadn't become a puppet. Cuth recounted what she had seen. When Abel was applying the spell, Mash bent as low to the ground as possible to delay the moment of contact with the threads and to buy time, and as soon as he felt the touch he tore them with a quick and deft movement. Mash wondered why Abel was sweating and he snapped the puppet at Mash again, but he successfully deflected the attack. Mash quickly came up behind him and used a drop tactic. Abel was upset that he was the prey in this battle. Abel thought back to his mother. She had always been a kind and compassionate woman. Even though she was from a family of aristocrats, she treated the common people as her equals. He remembered her saying that they were just lucky to be born into wealth, but one day this kind woman was brutally murdered. On that day, she was distributing food to the poor as usual. An unknown man from the crowd wanted to appropriate all the food for himself and mercilessly plunged a knife into her stomach. This stranger said that this was the price of unlimited luck. She was lucky to be born rich. She truly believed in human kindness and was very naive like a child. That's how Abel's mother left. He thought she was very wrong. People don't need pity and compassion. If the dregs of society are where they are now, it is fate and harmony is impossible to achieve. Abel sought out the best of the best to carry out his plan. Abis was the first and his entire team shared his viewpoint and were not happy with this world. Abel said he wasn't going to back down and the unwanted trash had to be gotten rid of because they deserved it. Mash said that there are good and bad people everywhere, and Abel said that the closer to the bottom, the more fools there are and therefore they need to be destroyed. Mash said he didn't like that and asked where Lemon was, and reminded him that Abel had lost to him. Abel accepted defeat and released all the imprisoned students as a gift to the winner. Mash said that Abel wasn't such a bad person if he was doing all this for his mother. Abel cast a spell and released the students. When Finn became human again, he made Mash very happy. Finn and Mash were happy that Lemon was okay. Abel watched the boys rejoice and thought they were fools. Mash was happy about the new gold coins and the guys praised him and said he was cool. Lemon thanked Mash for saving him and apologized for causing so much trouble. Suddenly, Dot came in and started cheering with the guys. Abel marveled at the idiocy of the guys. At this time, Lance met Rain in the hallway who suspected him of not being from the academy. Rain decided to test Lance for magic, but he reflected the magical energy. It turned out that it wasn't Lance, but a member of an underground dark magic organization. His name was Zell. Rain tried to interrogate Zell and he said he was looking for something important. He was frustrated that he couldn't find what he was looking for. Zella refused to give information to Rain and said that in order to find out something from a person, you have to get to their heart and that's called common sense. Zell said he didn't have time and needed to get rid of Abel. Rain tried to stop him, but his attempt was unsuccessful. To delay Rain, Zell left serial killer Jean-Pierre against him. Rain realized that things were bad because Pierre had the strength of a divine conduction at least. Unsuspecting, the boys continued to rejoice in their victory.